United Kingdom produces some interesting television programs. One in particular is Extraordinary People, and in one episode they featured Daniel Tammet, who's now about 35 years old. He has an extraordinary brain. He is asked to describe what it is that he's visualizing when he's computing numerical equations. He's one of the types like the Rain Man. Daniel is able to compute numbers in an organic way, not in a mathematical sense as we know it. We're brought up to learn in our math education system, but in a esoteric form. He sees them distort into forms and shapes, almost as if they're geometric shapes, but in an amorphous form. But what's extraordinary, I guess I could use that word, is that when he was brought to the United States, he described the buildings as the number 9s. He also describes another number, which is the number 6. It's a number that aggravates him. It's a number that he doesn't like, and he describes it as being like at the bottom of a pit, like it has the essence of being a black hole, which is very interesting when we look at the number 6s in the occult world as being the sign of the devil, the bottomless pit, so to speak. But the number 9 is intriguing. This is a person that I'm quite certain doesn't follow the occult knowledge base. He's not a conspiracy theorist, nor does he care to be one. He is really literally perceiving something that is in a geometric form created by engineering with the number 9.
One, for example, would be very bright and shiny number. It's almost like somebody flashing a light in my face. You know, it's a very interesting experience. Number 9 is the biggest number. It's very tall. They can be intimidating.
Daniel says he sees every number up to 10,000 as a distinct shape or image. Daniel is in New York, but not as we know it. For someone who reads numbers into everything, the city is giving him a strange vibe.
Being in New York with all these huge skyscrapers, it's intimidating for me, and all the time I had this sensation that I'm being surrounded by 9s. The number 9 is all around me. It can be a very nerve-wracking experience.
Daniel also talks about the number 1 and what that represents in his mind, and he says that it's like a flashing light, and it almost seems as if it's overwhelming flash. This is significant because whatever occurred in the buildings that destroyed them from the inside out could have been more than what the fires were producing with the jets that had crashed in there. And if there weren't jets, if they were just projected holographic images, something was on fire in the buildings. But what if this alien technology, I'll say alien to us, what if the free energy that was created in there created a flash? It would be similar to in 2 films where I recognize a flash energy, but it's referred to as all spark. We see that in the movie Contact, but in the movie Transformers, where they have this unknown energy force that is warehoused in Hoover Dam, it's called all spark. When I put together the number 1 and the number 9, one's representing dual sparks and the number 9 representing tall building, what we have is something that can be related to the Trade Center towers. So this may be an interesting case in which Daniel Tammet is able to understand the numerical system far beyond what our limitations are. And this is the understanding that alien technology that far supersedes the human intellect would understand, and they implement and use, and it's been used against us. We travel about 14 years after the 2001 event that took place in New York City, with the Trade Center towers being destroyed and 2 major camps of thought that completely contradict the incredibly ridiculous government theory as to how the buildings came down. Their report, of course, can be refuted any angle you'd look at. But Dr. Judy Wood, who figures that it was a scalar vector technology, free energy, that was used to bring down the buildings and dustify them, as opposed to the buildings crumbling down to a big massive pile of steel and concrete. It was nothing of the sort. But she doesn't go any further describing where the buildings went, which is evident in the title of her books, Where Did the Towers Go? And then there's Richard Gage, who heads the group called Architects of Engineers, get close to the answer as well, but they're both theories. And then I have a new third theory, which indicates not how the buildings were brought down, but an indication that alien technology must have been implemented in that, and it has to do with the way our minds are limited in thinking. And then there's the case of Daniel Tammet, who has an incredible capacity to compute numbers and mathematics, but not in the sense that we have been taught. He does it in a very visual way. Shapes and forms are presented before him, and he's very accurate. He doesn't make any mistakes. He's been tested by science and educational university settings in which it's confirmed that he's able to do this without cheating. Now, Daniel is not a conspiracy theorist, and he's not one to tell lies. It doesn't seem like that, the documentary that I saw, nor would he want to. His life revolves around his gift that he has, and therefore he's not a conspiratorial analyst or a conspiracy theorist. He probably had it fixed in his mind what happened in New York as he traveled to there to visit it for the first time. But even before that, he has defined how he feels about what the numbers he sees represents, from 1 to the number 9. The number 9 is significant because he sees them as tall buildings. And Daniel Tennant doesn't even look at all of this information. He's not interested in it. But it's worth considering because we live in a world of limitations. Our educational system is not boundaryless. We are confined in a world of thought that is conditioned to us so that we can perform a function specific in society without being diversions to the powers that be.
Actually the number I find hardest to experience in any sort of meaningful visual way, so it's often the absence of anything. It's like a hole or a chasm or like a black hole.